Hey guys, welcome back. Go ahead and get comfortable. Dim the lights a little. Put the phone face down if you're brave. Or don't. History has never punished indecision very harshly. Usually. Tonight, we're beginning with one of humanity's most reliable talents. Coming up with increasingly creative ways to hurt each other. Specifically when talking stops working. Before we drift too far in, feel free to like the video and subscribe. Only if you genuinely enjoy this kind of thing. No pressure. I'm not here to lay siege to your village or confiscate your firewood. And as always, let me know in the comments where you're listening from, and what time it is for you. It's strangely comforting to imagine people around the world slowly falling asleep to the same collection of extremely bad medieval decisions. Now, medieval warfare wasn't a noble contest of honor, bravery, and mutual respect. That idea mostly exists because centuries later, people who were not there needed something comforting to believe. Something tidy, something that suggested suffering had rules. In reality, medieval combat was a design problem. One that kept getting worse. Like an arms race run by people who had never heard the phrase, "Maybe this is enough." Every battle asked the same simple question. How do we stop the other person from continuing to exist? Preferably before lunch. At first, swords worked fine. They were sharp. They were dramatic. They made everyone involved feel like the stories would remember them kindly. Then armor happened. Lots of armor. More armor every year. Metal layered on metal, straps tightened, plates added, rivets reinforced. Knights kept adding protection like they were worried the enemy might try to hug them too hard. Before long, warriors resembled walking cookware. Confident, loud, increasingly difficult to deal with. Weapon makers responded the only way they knew how. With panic mixed with creativity. If cutting stopped working, they crushed. If crushing failed, they punctured. If puncturing didn't solve the issue, they hooked, yanked, tripped, or simply knocked the other person over and let gravity finish the conversation. Medieval engineers did not believe in elegant solutions. They believed in one question only. Did it work? Yes or no? And what's impressive, or deeply concerning, is how fast innovation happened. Someone would show up to a battlefield wearing thicker armor. And within a few years, everyone else would be carrying a brand new weapon designed specifically to make that armor feel like a very bad financial decision. No refunds. No warranty. Blacksmiths experimented constantly. They added spikes because why not? They added chains because rigidity had failed them emotionally. They extended handles so soldiers could maintain a safe emotional distance from the screaming. Every design choice quietly said, "I learned this the hard way." This creativity wasn't limited to professionals. Farmers modified tools. Hunters repurposed gear. Militia arrived holding objects that technically had other jobs last week. If it could transfer force and cause regret, it was weaponized immediately. The battlefield became a testing ground for bad ideas that worked far too well. And once an idea worked, it spread quickly. There were no ethics committees. No safety testing. No let's think this through meetings. There was only survival, and the quiet hope that whatever you built wouldn't bounce back and hit you. Medieval warfare wasn't poetic. It wasn't romantic. It was iterative design under extreme stress. And tonight, we're drifting through some of the stranger results of that process. Not to shock, not to horrify, just to observe, calmly, how humans behave when they're cold, scared, and wrapped in metal like refrigerators. Let's start small. Not with a sword, not with a hammer, but with something much quieter. The caltrop. A caltrop is a tiny object. Small enough to fit in your hand. Often no bigger than a walnut. It has 4 spikes arranged so that no matter how it lands, one spike always points upward. Patient. Optimistic. This is medieval minimalism at its finest. No moving parts. No training required. No honor involved. You didn't swing it. You didn't aim it. You didn't duel with it. You simply scattered it on the ground. And walked away. The real genius of the caltrop wasn't who it hurt. It was what it stopped. Movement. Soldiers could fight while injured. They could bleed and keep going. They could even survive being hit inside their armor and remain technically alive. But no one could fight if they couldn't walk. Caltrops turned terrain into a problem. Fields, roads, choke points, all denied with a handful of metal and a quiet sense of satisfaction. Their most important victims weren't even soldiers. They were horses. Medieval warfare ran on horses. Speed, shock, status. A single caltrop under a hoof could end a cavalry charge instantly. Not dramatically, not heroically, just a sudden stop. Confusion, pain. Knights might survive injuries. Horses rarely did. Once word spread that caltrops were present, behavior changed immediately. Marches slowed. Formations loosened. Panic crept in. Not because anyone had been hurt yet, but because everyone knew they could be. Caltrops ignored armor entirely. Plate protection meant nothing if you couldn't take a step forward. Shields were useless. Skill didn't matter. Rank didn't matter. Everyone had feet. Everyone needed them. Armies delayed battles, redirected advances, abandoned plans entirely, not because the enemy was stronger, but because the ground had become hostile. And that's the thing medieval warfare eventually figured out. Violence doesn't need drama. It doesn't need speeches or banners or heroic last stands. Sometimes it just waits quietly underfoot. In medieval warfare, even the ground eventually took